Glad to know you're still with us. Now to the stock market, where the benchmark performance indicator of Nigeria's equities market crossed the 50,000 psychological mark on Thursday as Santa Claus rally continues on the bourse. The index is its highest point since August, as year-to-date, the stock market has risen by 17.75%. On Thursday, in 3,989 deals, investors exchanged 498,727,000 shares valued at 3.8 billion naira, while the Nigeria Exchange Limited All-Share Index and its market capitalization increased further from 49,934.6 points and 27.19 trillion naira to 50,300 points and 27.39 trillion naira. Meanwhile, investors' interest in MTN Nigeria increased by 0.47%, Nestle 10%, Seplat increased by 4.76%, Nigerian Breweries went up 9.04%, and Geregu also increased by 10%, buoyed the market's positive performance. Now, for further analysis, we're being joined by Ambrose Modion, Chief Research Officer at Invest Data Consultant Limited. Good morning, and thank you for joining us, Ambrose.
Thanks for having me again.
I guess we're starting on a celebratory note as the year is closing on a very high note for the stock market, crossing the psychological 50,000 basis points. You predicted this actually last week. You were talking about the fact that we would cross that mark before the end of the year, and here it is.
I would say good news for investors and for Nigeria as general that market has crossed it. But it's not the first time. In May, we saw the market hitting as high as 54,000 mark before pulling back as a result of change in policy that comes as a result of the global central bank trying to manage inflation. That put the market down. Not that the companies on the exchange were sick or they are not doing well, just because of that what we call change in policy rate. In investment, what we call circular flow of funds. Every fund look at where you can get a better return with also a lower risk. When we saw that, we see that rates are going up. All those fixed income market instruments that are most, that are risk, the risk there is relatively low or not there at all. People that are fearful, that don't understand how to play, quickly move their fund to that. And also because of the rate hike, there was also increase in yield in that instrument. For that, they're trying to be what we call balance of portfolio. People are selling down. For almost 5 months, we saw the market down. But as we just said, we knew to the market that in the last 2 months now, the month of November and December, market is already recovering about 3 months lost. It recorded the previous, at almost around September now, where the market is now. For me, it's a good one. But like you just said, the good one, the market across the 50,000 mark. And that tells the market is likely to surpass the 54,000 mark in the new year, especially in the first month of 2023. Being for me, I expect that this volatility we saw so far, this period will continue in that first month of January. Why I say so? Because we're going to see unaudited account from quoted companies that had December as year end to come in that month. And as it's coming, investors are looking at which company has the capacity to pay either higher what they paid the previous year or sustain the level of payment. And you know that every investment is against the future, and you are there to make money, either in dividend payment or capital appreciation. And if, as we just saw yesterday, that only the few big caps just kind of beaten out yesterday, and we expect that more will do that in the new year, especially the life of MTN, and Dangote Cement. Dangote is remains flat. Others are making move now. Once it go back to 300 naira price, likely to move the index also to back around 52, 54, 53. And now going back to 2,000 naira. For me, the market is still. What about
Geregu?
It's a new one in the market, but I love the way it's going. And don't forget that because of the news that another foreign bank is coming to the to take about 5% of the company. That's also a positive news for them. That gives investor, if we are seeing an investor coming to the company, so that they are seeing also credibility and also kind of good prospect in the company. That's why they are coming, and that also attracts local investor and investor to go into. And also forget that the personality behind Geregu before now have been known in the market. We know how Tedela might move from around that 29 to almost 300 in terms of performance, in terms of management. And investors are also think that if this person is also the chairman of Geregu, nothing stops him also doing the same thing. These are people are looking at. Also, I would say that where the billionaires are, as an investor or trader, always be there. The billionaires would like to remain where they are. Because rating has always make every billionaire anywhere in the world, apart from Nigeria or Africa. Globally, we say it's a billionaire. There is kind of respect accorded to that name. And also, the billionaire is not because of the money you have in your bank account in the GTB or in the bank. It is the worth of your investment. And know that if the price of this stock move, these guys they are increasing, their worth will increase. That's why they would like the price of this stock to keep on going up, so that their rating will also be high. That means, as an investor, once you are doing a portfolio, know where you should balance it. The ones that are good cap in terms of performance, the ones that are good because they are owned by billionaires, the ones that are good in terms of low cap. You balance your portfolio with all this kind of investment strategy, so that at the end of the day, you'll be in a good position.
Well, it's such interesting times for the markets, especially as we see all of this happening. 37 gainers against 9 losers. That's a huge win. But let's look at some of the stocks that caused this positive sentiment. For instance, we see Nestle Nigeria PLC going up 10% to close at 1,000 naira, and also shares of MC Nichols gaining 9.6% to close at 57 kobo. How do you explain all of the increase in the stocks?
If you look at what happened in the market yesterday, I'll tell you that it's a kind of a continuation of what I started in the month of November. For me, what we're seeing, I'm not surprised, because I've said it's going to look like, because when we saw the last adjustment interest rate, market did not give down to that adjustment. At the adjustment, the market is keeping on going up. Tell you that market have discounted the adjustment, because they've seen that dividend yield of many companies is almost higher than the yield in Treasury B, especially the long-term Treasury B, and also some of the bond. For me, that's why they are moving their money in equity space. And I'll tell you, among the other investment we do in Nigeria, despite that the return of the market here today is around the 17.75, still slightly below the inflation rate, about 21.47. I will tell you, this only one that is closer to inflation rate. That means if you want to hedge against inflation, equity space remain a place for you to work, especially those commodity back and real estate back company. But I believe that in Nigeria today, and even as I said earlier, across the globe, our market is one of the best performing markets. And this will say kudos to our market, because despite all the uncertainties, political tension here and there, this I think that this is the fourth time I've seen kind of massive rate hike across the globe. But still, our local markets here, equity market survive, and still, I'll tell you, no matter what happened today, the market is going to close positive. That is a good. And this is what I said at the beginning of this year, that yes, so the kind of marginal gain was saw in 2022, but I believe that the trend will continue in 2022. So in 2023, we're likely to see similar things, but because of the election, and also
we'll definitely get to that, because we would have to also make predictions concerning 2023. Okay. But I'm concerned about what's boosting the investor confidence, despite all of the skirmishes, all of the policies, all of the shakings going on in the economy.
Don't forget that in the midst of uncertainty, there's opportunity. And if you're going to look the world uncertainties, you become fearful, you won't take advantage of the opportunity. Every investor knows that investing itself is a risk. Life is a risk. Even the person is a risk.
That's what it takes to be an investor.
Yes. You must know how to calculate the risk and know how to take advantage of anything happening around you. For me, those that really still at the fence that, the elections around the corner, they will be biting themselves and say, why? If I'm taking it, I would have made money. But those that put their head inside the rain and are smiling. But I believe that this trend will continue, like you just said, the end of the Q1 2023. But because of the election, those that understand that for almost 25 years in Nigeria, we have seen series of elections, and we'll hand over to the first time we saw a change of one political party to another in Nigeria. That means our democracy is becoming deep. We're understanding ourselves. Before that, I've been one party for almost 16 years. Give another party another 8 years now. That means
2015.
Another 8 years now. We're likely to go to that. That means if we manage that 2017 election, and despite all the
2015 election,
2015 election, we already will see somebody seeing government today. Nigeria is still together. I don't believe that this one will take us away from Nigeria or start. I believe that it will still come and go. It's come and go. That we're getting matured. I believe that also investors to look at in between the line. Where should I pitch my tent? It is not just the stock on the exchange. Whether what is happening will also impact positively on the company. Not on this company, but I tell you, even as war is in Russia, there are some companies that are benefiting from that war. As an investor, you look at that where they are selling weapons. You can't invest them because they are making money. They pay good dividends. Look at what is happening and position in it.
As you said, in every crisis there are opportunities. Yeah. Well, let's look at the flip side of the table, especially as we say, Livestock Feeds PLC leading the decliners. declining by 8.4% to close at 1 kobo. How do you explain this?
No, for
decline?
me, livestock is just profit taking. This is stock that touched as low as almost 89 kobo. It bounced back to almost 120. Investors that enter 80 kobo will be selling to take profit. Just also, the sector is where government is inputting all their effort to make sure that we're able to feed ourselves. I believe that the way Okomo and Presco will be going up, they drag that stock up. And don't forget that it's a news that Indonesia is saying, oh, we want to tighten our export for palm oil, and that is that our market here, especially the Okomus and others, have the opportunity to make money if they're exporting their. I believe that livestock also be in that sector as performance in those two companies going up, have a way of influencing and being into what feed. I believe that also have a opportunity to bounce back, and then with their numbers that will support their price. What we're seeing just the market forces.
But we also saw a decline in FBN holdings, that's losing 6.4% to close at 11 naira 25 kobo.
For me, FBN holdings seen pulling back. I'm not surprised because this is a company that have been kind of they are stable. Even when the market was coming down from that May to October, this bank remains stable at 10 naira, 10.20. Now it crossed almost 11 to 11.80, coming down yesterday. I'm not surprised that profit taking because they are so resilient that there's something holding us. So their shareholding structure have changed. We're not seeing kind of yo sell off in that stock. There's something is holding that stock. And also don't forget yesterday we saw about 154 million shares cross D in that stock at 12 naira. Even though it's closing at 11 naira 5 kobo, but a cross deal was done that same day at 12 naira. It's a pointer that this stock was likely to touch that 12 naira. That means pulling back should not panic anybody in that position. Rather, yes, we might not expect a good dividend from that bank, that holding company for now, because CBN will not approve so because you know where they are coming from. But also, if you look at their performance, they've done tremendously well. Their non-performing loan have dropped drastically, which is good. But I believe that in this first performance, CBN will not grant it to pay good dividend. That's the only thing I'm seeing there. There's a comma there. Their dividend will not match with the price at 11 naira or above 11 naira. But for those that are there for a long time, they know why they are there, can hold their position. But in terms of dividend yield, there are other similar banks in that first year category that will give you a higher dividend yield that you can also go in.
So investors should hold on.
It depends on your strategy, but you can want to hold on, go ahead. But if you want to move and come back, it's no problem.
All right. Let's look at that of Vitafoam Nigeria PLC, which went down 5.9% to close at 20 naira 65 kobo.
Actually, investors in the market, they have different perception about the market. Yesterday, Vitafoam released their audited account for September ended 31st, 2022. And the good thing is that they maintained their dividend payout, moved from 1 naira 50 kobo to 1 naira 52 kobo. That dividend was what cost it because people invested either to pay either 180 or 2 naira because there's a little. And also, if you look at the numbers, also the full year result, it was a missed number. We saw a marginal decline of 2% in their profit after tax, which is very, very important to investors. But I believe that the company has successfully done well before now. That have brought the price to the level. Don't forget what is happening within the manufacturing sector. But for them to maintain the top line about 31% up from 35.9 billion to almost around 46 billion naira for their revenue. It's a good one, but only the bottom line. And don't forget that cost of transaction has increased. That have eaten into their revenue, that they were seeing a flat bottom line. But I believe that 1 naira 50 kobo is also a good dividend for a stock that is selling for almost 20 naira. But I believe that as we see their first quarter, that will be coming by next month, because this is the end of their first quarter. At the same time, it's ending today. As from next week, we start seeing the expense. That first quarter might change the trend, because knowing that this last quarter of the year is a festive period, the demand for a lot of things, also dental, personal wear and other things. I believe that they should also kind of with their earnings that will support the price. For me, investors should not panic. Just a market sentiment at the same time, profit taking.
Yeah. Well, Unilever Nigeria lost 2.5% to close at 11 naira 50 kobo. Let's match that with Fidelity Bank also declining by 1.9% to close at 4 naira 56 kobo. How motivated do you think investors are, especially in positioning themselves for the stocks?
No, if you look at Fidelity, people have done pretty well for investors, moving from around almost 3 naira 10 kobo to almost 4 naira 80 kobo in less than 3 months. For me, it's a good achievement for them in terms of capital appreciation for those that are there. And also on the strength of Fidelity Q3 number, we can easily say that dividend that is also committed will come from them, because they initially paid the first time 10 kobo into dividend, and expect that their full year should not be less than 30 kobo. That would be a good thing for Fidelity. At this price, if they pay 40 kobo, that will be wow, and that will launch the bank into another class, in the way it operates. For me, if you are Fidelity, pulling back with a 1.7% should not panic. You just hold on and see their final result. You know that audited result is what really supports the final dividend. And once the audited result is okay, we already seen their third quarter, looking up. I believe that for Unilever, yes, market will only move left and right. Knowing that the consumer sector or market sector are being hit by this high cost of activities, we don't expect much result that will change the trend in Unilever. But for me, people also let move out of Unilever to another position. But Unilever has prospect, but because the results are not looking too good, people are moving out to another company.
All right, so there has been so much talk about how the year is ending on a high note, and you've talked about the fact that this might continue into the first quarter of 2023. But what are some of the predictions that you have, especially when it comes to the stocks that would really perform well in 2023?
No, actually, as an investor, if you look at all the sector, because what matters is not only just the stock you want to pick. You want to look at what's the policy environment, which sector, which industry will benefit from any change in policy. Because when I said there will be a financial market and economic reset in 2023, it shows that there's real reset to create opportunity. You as an investor to identify those opportunities in the market is what makes you, a designing investor. But I believe that now we're seeing factors that will support the banking sector performance. They stay on. I'll tell you, inflation across the globe, it's not going to overnight disappear. That has come to stay to a level. Because I tell you,
do you think there will still be further increase?
Yes, there will. There might be a little slow down. As far as we're seeing that the conflict in Russia and Ukraine is kind of coming up again, that also will affect supply. And if supply comes and oil price goes high as another 120 again, you see it's going to also impact on inflation. We still going to want to manage inflation by central bank. That means if still come back in that rate. For me,
and the NPR would also be increased.
Yes, that means you should know where you should be. That's one. Also, you have seen that in the last 2 months now, while we're battling about fuel scarcity in Nigeria, and now we see that there are some states in Nigeria that are selling fuel for 300 already, 320 already. Some are selling for 165, 169. All these marketers. That our marketers, they also making money already in this last quarter of the year. And also lubricants, the oil they use, the oil that they sell, they've also doubled the price of those lubricants. These are what's going to impact in those sectors' result. For me, investors should look at what will boost the company result and you take advantage. And also say for the agriculture sector, we know that I mentioned about Indonesia trying to tighten the export, and that means if you're into that business, yes, few of them are listed. That says that there's oil business, there's kind of opportunity there. I believe also we're having an infrastructural gap in Nigeria and want to bridge it. Because if you really want to bridge it, that means you want to drive growth. And for you to drive growth, that means we must continue to do construction here and there. Housing deficit already in Nigeria. I want to do more houses to accommodate people. That industry has come to stay. That means no matter what is happening, the government will continue to build, media will continue to build. You should also balance your portfolio in that. And also say the new sector that is making wave is the telecom sector. I'll tell you, this sector before now was outside the exchange. Before they now come to saying we can see the impact on the exchange in terms of impacting our market capitalization, and also tell you that people appreciate that this sector also have what it takes for them to generate money. Knowing that a company like MTN, they are busy growing the world, their cash flow. And when the company cash flow is looking up, it's a matter of time, the earnings will start looking up. And if earnings looking up, payout will be also impressive. That payout will also support the price of those companies. I believe that telecom, in terms of MTN and Airtel, they look very, very, for me, attractive, but the price to enter is very, very important now. And which one has good dividend yield at this time? And what is your investment goal? Are you going for dividend? Are you going to capital appreciation? As an investor, this is what to do this time. But I believe that this trend we are seeing will continue in 2023, especially in the first quarter of 2023. Volatility will remain as it is because this global trend of rate hike has not come to has come to stay. Sorry, that means that central bank will continue to adjust interest rate up and down. That also define where the money will flow to. But I tell you that it is this rate that most circular flow fund want to look at. Where is the rate going? Is the rate going up or going down? It's going up. It's to favor some instrument. If it's going up, it's going to favor some instrument. Down. For that, you only want to move with what is happening in the economy to adjust to what your portfolio.
Interesting. But how about the CBN's policy on cash withdrawal and the new Naira note? We know that there have been a lot of complaints as regards getting this Naira note, and then the CBN has had to adjust, the withdrawal limit and all of that. How do you see all of that influencing the market?
Actually, people don't like change. Whether they are educated, they are politicians, they are farmers, people don't like change. When change comes, people want to move against change. What CBN is doing, I tell you that it's not overnight. It's for the good of every Nigerian what they are doing. The first thing is for them to also able to manage inflation. That's why they are doing Naira redesign, so that those funds that are outside the bank vault will also be returned back, because those that are hiding here and there, by all means, because they want the new note, they bring it from there. Then CBN policy can now be effective when countries will manage their inflation. That is one. And also, what is happening in terms of insecurity. People like to pay money from one corner, and this money are not paid. Most of them are not paying through the bank. They're paying millions for ransom and all those things. If we have a check, it won't happen again. For me, it's a good policy, but my timing also depend on CBN board. It's a policy to put that reset we're expecting in 2023, because something has to start in 2023. Because
but do you see it affecting the market?
No. The market isn't benefiting from it now, because those people that don't want to carry the amount to bank before the deadline are trying to buy stock, are trying to buy house, so that they don't use this award. Exactly.
All right, I think we'll just leave it there. Thank you so much for your time on the show, and also your time all through the year 2022. It's been a privilege having you on Business Breakfast. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Bruce Omodio, Chief Research Officer, Invest Data Consulting Limited. I will look forward to a better time in 2023.
By God bless, we're together.
All right, see you in 2023.
Yeah, thank you.
And after the break, we will be looking at other issues, especially coming from the business world. Please stay with us.